G'day folks. A top UN expert has been here in Australia lately making some very bold claims about Israel in its ongoing conflict with Hamas in Gaza. Now, she is a passionate and outspoken advocate for the Palestinian people, not so much for the folks of Israel who, remember, just 6 weeks ago suffered a terror attack at the hands of Hamas, the biggest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust. And here she was warning Israel against self-defence.
Israel cannot claim the right of self-defence against a threat that emanates from the territory it occupies.
It's claims like this that lead folks to question the role the UN plays and how connected to reality it actually is. Ms. Albanese is an international lawyer, but she's got a loose grip on terms because at an official level, Israel doesn't occupy Gaza, at least not before the ground invasion. It ceded military control back in 2005. Gaza is ruled by Hamas, a globally recognised terrorist group that's held power there since 2006, the year of the last election. Ms. Albanese has also been accusing Israel of genocide, which is a highly inflammatory allegation. When I questioned her about that, she defended her charge.
In international law, genocide is the intent to destroy a group, a national, racial, ethnic or religious group in whole or in part, and can be committed when there are acts of killing of people of the group or creating living conditions that make life of this group impossible or creating significant physical and mental harm to the people of this group, which is precisely what is happening in the Gaza Strip.
She's right on the definition of the law, but how do you prove intent here? Sure, there's intent to destroy Hamas, but there's been no similar claim that I've seen about wiping out a national, racial or ethnic group. The Israeli President, Isaac Herzog, has claimed in the past an entire nation out there is responsible, pointing to everyone in the Gaza Strip being a Hamas accomplice. First of all, he's not right. Secondly, it still doesn't point to intent to eliminate a race. Civilians have been killed, yes, which constitutes a war crime, but when civilians are being used as human shields by Hamas, when rockets are fired from built-up areas, or, as Israel has shown over the past few days, weapon caches inside hospitals and tunnels underneath them, grey areas start to emerge, which may make that difficult to prosecute. This was our exchange on war crimes. Is Hamas guilty of war crimes?
Of course. There is no question about that. Hamas has committed war crimes the moment it killed civilians, it targeted civilians, and it took civilian hostages. These are undisputable war crimes.
Yes. So, I mean, there is a saying, you know, you get punched in the nose, you're not going to give a free lunch. So does Hamas get what's coming? This is not against Hamas. Those who are paying now, and these are the same ones who have been paying for the 5 previous wars. Hamas started this whole thing by launching the terror attack, as you just pointed out, was a war crime. So now it's getting its response, which Israel is entitled to.
What you're saying is very dangerous because the people in Gaza had suffered 5 wars before this one, which had killed thousands of people.
Now, I don't know what's so dangerous about my claim. In the real world, if a country launches an attack on another, there will be a response. As bad as that sounds, it's just how things are. It's reality, which the UN appears to be divorced from. I'm not sure how much time Ms. Albanese has spent in Gaza, but I was there for 3 of those wars. I saw all the unimaginable death and destruction on both sides. I was in the morgue of Al-Shifa Hospital where bodies, including children, were stacked up on top of each other because there was simply nowhere else to put them. I'll never forget that. But I also know what Hamas militants get up to. Everyone knew there were tunnels underneath that hospital, which was confirmed this week by the IDF. Israel has been blasted by critics for not providing enough evidence regarding claims military command centres were inside that main hospital. But has anyone asked what on earth those weapons were doing there in the first place? Regardless of how many, what were they doing there? It's a hospital. And the tunnels with blast doors and shooting windows attached to them, what's that about? Yet, Ms. Albanese deflects.
The thing is that there shouldn't have been a blockade for 16 years enabling Hamas to rule over Gaza as it has done against the will of the people.
The images that we've seen are truly horrific. Little innocent boys and girls being slaughtered, civilians on both sides being killed, homes and livelihoods destroyed. But Hamas started this, and Israel has a right to defend itself just as any other nation would. Hamas launched the terror attacks of October 7 knowing full well Israel's response would be severe and many of its civilians would die. It knew that and proceeded. Not giving Israel a free pass here because wanton destruction shouldn't be allowed. Wayward strikes on civilians are unacceptable and constitute a war crime. But back to that point earlier, if civilians are used as shields, while Hamas deliberately operates around that, it complicates the picture in a conflict that's already so complicated. If Hamas isn't taken out completely, and as I've said here before, I don't think it entirely can, it will keep launching these attacks on Jewish people until real solutions are found. Thanks for watching. To support this channel, please like, share and subscribe below. See you next week.